So seeing as we now have that little cycle there, this cycle is going to be used as the intro, end of the verses, and the re-intro once again. So as you're going from the beginning, now you would start the verses. Now the verses consist of 2 cycles, at which point we're going to go into we're going to call this first pre-chorus. Now, once again, everything is staying relatively close to one another, and we're going to remain anchored onto these first 2 strings on the 3rd fret. Now, coming out of that cycle, the verses have 2 cycles of that run there, and you're now going to go into this. It's going to be an E minor version of it. Now what's going to happen is we're going to break out of this. Here we go. Now we're actually doing this like this. I mean, the thing with so many songs is it applies to the actual player is the fact that anatomically you go by what your fingers are going to allow you to do. Someone with bigger hands is going to be a little easier to do certain things, and I'll show you why I do what I do in relation to my hand size. But at the same time, I'll show you what would be, I guess, accessible for someone with smaller hands as well. Now this would be theoretically how you would play it. It is now an E minor. Now you're going to supplant your fingers over this way, and like I said, remain anchored on your 1 and your 2. Now, due to my finger size, I always just grab this one finger to grab those 1, 2 strings right there as I'm sandwiching between the 2 of them there, and I grab that. Now, what I like about doing that, I see the benefits for me is the fact that I can get this finger ready to go into the next one. If you're able to do that, great. If not, then you're going to be having to do the actual full chord with this way, which for me, it is a little more, I find it more of a laborsome thing to get in there to be politically correct on the actual chord. However, so going on to this E minor, is going to be your E, and once again the B, no different than you're doing with the G. This, now back to your A minor 7, to the D. That's a little, lifting that one finger up there. Now we're going to go into the G. We're going to downscale a little bit here. And now the one other spot that I want to mention too here is it's a D at F sharp. Now, for me, it seems to make so much more sense that you're going to be able to use your thumb. Now, a lot of people have this voodoo thing where you wouldn't use your thumb, and you'd actually do your D with your first finger there on the F sharp. But it seems so much more of a workload to get to that one location to suddenly chord up that way. Whereas when you're using your thumb, if you can use your thumb, it just slides everything that much more easier, and it frees up one finger to do whatever you need to. Which in this case is extremely obvious. So, this one little pre-section here, first pre-chorus, being once again, E minor, the B of the E minor, A7, A minor 7, D major, G, D add F sharp, E minor again. Now connecting it to the next, which is your first, I'm going to say your second pre-chorus. I was going to say first chorus, but it's actually your second pre-chorus. The more than one section is where we are right now. Is all you have. So it's exactly the same as what we just did before. A minor 7. Except this time we're going to go into a G major 7. Like I said, he's 7 happy on the song. Now so G7 is like that. You've got your finger, your first finger now. Theoretically, this entire song is, that's going to be a lot of what he's doing in terms of a reference first anchor. There's we're going to be working with that whole little climb there. Now, going back to the section like I'm showing you. The D major. Now we're going to pull up to the C major. But once again, now we're using this, the B of that G, almost like a push. You're pushing it into the next chord. C major. Now the only time we're going to break out of this convenient little patch we're sitting here on is right for this C minor 7. C minor to... Now, where we're going to that from is... Now once again, from that G7, G major 7, D to the C major, then you wouldn't have to say, the G, once again, so you're landing on that. So coming out of this entire section, up into this point, so we can show you where we're at, from the first pre-chorus. Again, repeat. Now the G7, and the B to the C major. Now the C minor to the G. Now, what we're doing here is we're going to do a quick down scale. We're doing, before we did that with the D, add F sharp, that I was telling you to use your thumb. What we're going to do is that we're going to stay anchored on this and end on the A7 and D major 7.